And now it's my honor to introduce the leader of the Iranian opposition, the president-elect of the National Council of Resistance in Iran, Mrs. مريم رجوی.
Honorable representatives, allow me to begin by this. The situation of the Iranian society is explosive. During its 46-year rule, the religious fascism has never been so weak and fragile. The mullahs are surrounded from all sides by a society that is filled with anger and rebellion, by resistance units, by selfless and rebellious youth, and because of its bankrupt economy and corruption in the government, particularly after the overthrow of the brutal dictatorship of Assad and the collapse of the regime's strategic debt in the region. The regime is trying to preserve its shameful rule through widespread executions in Iran and by creating fear. Behruz Ehsani, one of the supporters of the Amriki, after learning of his death sentence, said, "I will not bargain for my life. I'm prepared to give my life for the people of Iran to be free." Over the past 4 decades, this regime has executed more than 100,000 people on political ground. This book shows more than 20,000 of them. Over the past 4 decades, the regime has used negotiations as a tool for deception to continue its nuclear weapons program and its destructive policies in the region. The Iranian people's desire and the only solution to the Iranian crisis is the regime's overthrow by the Iranian people. Overthrowing the regime does not happen by itself. Although comprehensive sanctions have a considerable impact by weakening the regime, but they do not lead to its overthrow. An organized resistance and a force on the ground are the necessary elements to do the job. The People's Mujahideen Organization of Iran and the Iranian Resistance's nationwide network inside the country with the resistance units where women play a pioneering role, undertake brave and daring activities. In confronting a misogynist regime, women play the leading role. These resistance units are Iran's freedom fighters and the driving force for change. Any decisive policy on the Iranian regime needs to recognize the role of the Iranian resistance in order to be effective and lead to the liberation of Iran and the region from a terrorist fundamentalist regime. The right to resistance is recognized by the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and American Declaration of Independence. Honorable representatives, the National Council of Resistance of Iran, with over 450 members from various tendencies, has been the most enduring political coalition in Iran's history. The NCRI has programs and specific plans for women's rights and freedoms, autonomy of nationalities, equality of followers of all religions, separation of religion and the state, and a non-nuclear Iran. I've always emphasized that we are not seeking to seize power, but to transfer it to its rightful owners, namely the people of Iran and their votes. The NCRI has a plan of action for the post-Mullahs Iran, outlining the roadmap for the transfer of power. The source of the policy mistakes regarding Iran over the past 4 decades has been ignoring the Iranian people by the failure to recognize this organized resistance and the existence of a democratic alternative. The resolution you introduced today presents a principled policy that emphasizes the Iranian people's desire to reject both religious and monarchic dictatorship, recognizing the rights of the Iranian people, the protesters, and the resistance units to confront the IRGC and repressive forces to bring about change and establish a democratic, secular, peaceful, and non-nuclear republic for the future of Iran. In these circumstances, a firm policy should include a series of necessary steps. First, activating the snapback mechanism leading to re-implementation of all the UN Security Council resolutions and the complete shutting down of the regime's entire nuclear program. Second, placing this regime under Chapter 7 of the UN Charter due to its threats to global peace and security. And third, recognizing the Iranian people's resistance for regime change and the resistance units' fight against the IRGC. Thank you all very much.